we doing, chat? Happy Tuesday, April 20th, 2021. I'm Gun, twitter.com/Gundacker. And we have a modest NBA slate tonight with a late lock. Oh my god. What is happening? Only one name on the 3 p.m. news to watch. That's the homie Devontae Graham, questionable. Knock on wood. NBA's been wild. Just crazy. News. Like, we're out here. Last night, I was highest on Saddiq Bey, Isaiah Stewart, Xavier Tillman. Yeah, I was talking about it in the pre-lock yesterday, man. This NBA product is so wild. And the playoffs don't start, I think, until like May 22nd, something like that. We have a month of this, and it's been feeling like the last week of NBA for a month now. But tonight, knock on wood, so far, so good news-wise. And it's a smaller slate, so hopefully we'll be able to navigate this pretty quickly, efficiently, come out with some plays that we like. If you guys are running the DFS gauntlet tonight, the DraftKings MLB main slate is 6:30. The FanDuel MLB main slate is 7:05, and then the NBA main slate is 7:30. So you can kind of stagger your approach appropriately and get your lineups done for all the sites, and hopefully not do any double dipping chaos 3 minutes before lock. And usually with baseball we don't have that, so I appreciate that it's staggered like that. We'll create for some really different lineups on FanDuel and DraftKings from an MLB standpoint, but we're here to navigate through basketball, so I appreciate you guys spending some of your time for some of my time, man. Shout out to the chat, Dang Lazy Mofo, you're Pete, what's up, Pete? Mouse Josh in the chat. That double OT Nuggets game tilted the entire slate. It did. I was all over some Joel Embiid, and then Nikola Jokic has 800 minutes played in a game. It was dumb. What's up, Dave Jones? Ready for NBA cash game winner on DraftKings? What is your favorite players? Early look is going to be pretty intense on that Kings stack, probably. What up, T Spaz? Campazzo got it. Yeah, dude, Campazzo was the one. He was the one. The one. You ain't the one, he was the one. Real quick, why don't we take a trip, a blast from the past last night, and kind of recap who did well, who did not do well. So let me pull that on the main screen here. I got baseball right now. Paul DeJong did well yesterday, by the way. Highest scorer on the slate. All right, yeah, let's put it back. April 19th. Nikola Jokic, 78 DKP. Put it on the screen here. Excuse me. I should have muted. John Morant, 72.5. Those two crushed it. The bulk of my lineups, obviously I had the right values, Saddiq Bey, Isaiah Stewart, guys like that. But I ran a whole lot of Steph Curry at Embiid. I thought that was positive correlation in the same lineup. And, one goes off, the other goes off as a response. Joel Embiid benefited from, I believe, no Harris, no Simmons, and Steph Curry. And I was like, yeah, this is glorious. I sit back, I watch Saddiq Bey go off, I watch Isaiah Stewart go off, and then John Morant and Nikola Jokic do the same for collectively less, and it was annoying. What can you do? Everyone else, we were there on Kendrick Nunn and guys like that. So, yeah, overtime will do it. Overtime will tilt you, especially if you get a pair of them. Outside of that, slate was what we thought it was. Russell Westbrook, eat, sleep, triple-double, repeat. Chris Paul. I think Milwaukee and Phoenix put up a fun game, too. Chris Paul with 50 fantasy points there. But outside of that, it's the usual suspects here. Will Barton, you probably didn't expect a near 10x there. Kendrick Nunn, we knew Butler was out. He was going to get all kinds of minutes, play 39 minutes. We've seen that play out a few times already this season. But outside of that, really wasn't any stunners in terms of people that you played or didn't play. Xavier Tillman was chalk, dropped 45 fantasy points. The guy that got me on DK, I took some shooting guard spots on Campazzo, and on FanDuel, I took some shots on Trevor Ariza. And I feel like those guys floated to the top of some of my better lineups. The reason 19 fantasy points, you want more. But for the most part, I had a really solid night last night. It was en route to being a incredible night, and then Jokic and then Jokic and John Morant happened, and instead of top 10s, we were clinging to top 40s and top 50s. So hopefully you guys did well. Profit's profit. Onward to the next one. Onward and upward, right? What's up, Anker? What up, Obi? I ran Giannis at Booker. Cook for the Pistons game. Got me 20 at 3K. Yeah, Composite was rough. What up, Nick? Crazy Giannis didn't play in the overtime. Yeah, pretty stressful, too. Can't today. Crazy work day. All right, cool. So it looks like it's just me today, which is fine. It's fine. Anker, y'all check out Anker's YouTube channel. Yeah, Anker, if you want to drop a link to your YouTube, Anker put up a video earlier today. He's trying to dabble, man. Get into the DFS content space, man. I support it. Iggy doing Iggy things. Yep, man. What are you gonna do? Anyway, tonight, 7:30 p.m. First game tip off here. Orlando Magic at the Atlanta Hawks. Let me zoom out just a little bit, make it a little bit more aesthetically pleasing. Orlando Magic project starting 5. Cole Anthony, Gary Harris Jr., Dwayne Bacon, Chuma Okeke, and Wendell Carter Jr. taking on Trae Young, Bogdan Bogdanovic, Kevin Huerter, John Collins, and Clint Capella. We got 218 total, a 12-point spread for the home team, Atlanta Hawks. And right off the bat, looking at this injury news and notes, Gallinari out. We do get Collins back in the mix. He's 6,500. That's doggone cheap. And the Orlando Magic have catapulted themselves into being the worst defense in basketball recently. And then on the season, they've moved themselves up to being a top 10 matchups. But we know that they're playing a lot worse than that. So looking at their defensive mishaps here, I think the Atlanta Hawks are all viable, but you do doubt the propensity of the Magic to keep this game close. If it does stay close, you're probably leaning on guys like Cole Anthony, Wendell Carter Jr., maybe even T-Ross is out. So yeah, it gets ugly really, really fast. So I'm going to lean to the side of the Hawks controlling this game. It's hard to pay nearly 8K for Bogdanovic on DraftKings with Collins back in the mix. So I probably don't get there quite often unless we got somebody else out. But for now, it looks like a full-strength Hawks team. I will probably have some like tier 3 shots out of all of them just because it is a small slate. On the Magic side, I'm just kind of curious to run some usage checks and stuff on the Magic. Just kind of, this has been a team that I just kind of checked out on for a while. But if their bench is going to be short, maybe it's worth on a 5-game slate doing a little bit more due diligence here. In terms of fantasy projections, I got Wendell Carter projected at 30 fantasy points. Him and Cole Anthony, the only guys on the Magic I have projected for that. So maybe some stocking stuffer exposure to these two. Lately, in terms of usage in the last couple games for Magic players, I've got Cole Anthony at 25, 26, 17, 20. So over 20% consistently over the course of the last 5, 6, 7 games. So I probably lean there on Cole Anthony. And then Gary Harris has been chilling at 20%. And he's 4K. And when he was on the Denver team, I didn't really touch him. But maybe we get like a Danny Green spot where he can thrive in a rare opportunity given to him. But Wendell Carter Jr. and Cole Anthony, really just the 1 and 2s that I'm kind of leaning towards. Everyone else would just be like a filler guy as I multi-enter, right? You guys got any crazy takes on this one? Let's get this money. He scored a 408.7 last night. Dude, I had a couple lineups pushing like, I had a bunch of 398s and stuff like that. And it was just like, I didn't even have a shot at winning a tournament, man. It was wild. DFS has been doing that a lot this year. But last night especially was wild. Yeah, I don't have any, other than Wendell Carter Jr., Cole Anthony, I'm probably not going crazy with the Magic side. And really, I'm not probably going to go over aggressive with the Hawks side either. But Bogdan, Trae Young, really the starting five all have cases to be like tier 3 exposed guys for me, just because it's a short slate and you feel like somebody's still going to get there. Projection wise, I got Trae Young leading the starters with 46 DKP, and even that's like not that compelling at that price point. So it would be more of a pivot play to like a De'Aaron Fox. Fox is my favorite point guard tonight, and he's 9.8. So maybe I'm getting a little cheaper shot at a Trae Young that we know could double his way to 50. But it definitely seems like a lesser side of the median range of outcome versus the more common side for like a De'Aaron Fox as the pivot. So moving on to the next game here, Brooklyn Nets at the New Orleans Pelicans. Love this game quite a bit. Much of my slate's going to be not on that first game. Nets project starting five here: Kyrie Irving, Joe Harris, Landry Shamet, Jeff Green, and Blake Griffin taking on Lonzo Ball, Eric Bledsoe, Brandon Ingram, Zion Williamson, and Stone Cold Steven Adams. A 234.5 total. Pelicans favored by 3. Kyrie Irving, big time spot here. No Kevin Durant, no James Harden. You already know his usage is going to be through the roof, but to put that in perspective, we'll use the on-off court tool because we got time today to kind of paint the picture here. So we're just going to take off KD, Harden, and for the heck of it, we can take off LaMarcus Aldridge and put on Kyrie. We might get a couple of minutes of sample size that don't make sense, like a Jared Allen or something in there, but just kind of like put a number to the minutes. We got 36% usage rate for Kyrie in 322 minutes, over a fantasy point per minute. Massive spot for him. Definitely no pushback on putting him as like a tier 1 guy. I got him projected at 50 plus fantasy points. If I'm looking at projections on the slate so far, I've got him as number 3 in terms of fantasy points scored. So anybody over 50 on the conservative projection list is definitely in play. So Kyrie has a strong case to be tier 1 exposure for me tonight. Past him, it's a little bit more murky, and I think that might be the way to win this slate, is to kind of get the secondary Nets players right. Blake Griffin's interesting. 5K, I've often comped Zion to early Blake Griffin. Maybe we see some old school Blake dunk as a response to it, like a Zion dunk. But then Bruce Brown, I got him for 30 minutes, close to 30 DKP. So, but Kyrie's far and away my favorite net. And this might get close to like the Westbrook and the rest of the Wizards situation, where the rest of the Wizards are okay, sometimes mostly not fantastic, but Westbrook is there. And the same for me with Kyrie. On the Pelican side, Zion is 9.8, 9.7. I'm looking for 50 fantasy points. We gave him the cover. It's the Brooklyn Nets. We love picking on this front court. 50, 49, 44, 57. He's done it quite a bit with and without Lonzo Ball. You expect the minutes to be closer to 35 plus in this matchup. Should it stay competitive, 3-point spread? It should. The Nets front court really, really porous, giving up 51.6 points in the paint per game. If you put that in perspective on the points per game, points in the paint allowed chart, Brooklyn Nets are allowing the second most points per game in the league. So great spot for Zion. And then, of course, the Brooklyn Nets don't rebound extremely well, and Zion could get himself his 7-8 rebounds, what have you. So definitely like Zion. Definitely like other shots on Ingram and Lonzo as well, but I'll have the most Zion. But all those guys are in play for me here. And I probably don't push the issue on Steven Adams, but maybe at 5.2, if I'm running 100, I get to a little dab of Adams. I got him for about a point per minute, but if I'm running like 20 or less, I probably don't push the issue with him on DraftKings, because I could just run like a Zion or somebody like that in that spot as well. Let's see what you guys got in the chat before we move on. Lorenzo says Kyrie's a lock on both sides. Yeah, I got no pushback on that. And, I kind of like running two studs against each other, Kyrie versus Zion. It's a little bit more murky because you could see an Ingram or Alonzo Ball step up here. But like yesterday, Nikola Jokic versus John Morant, Steph Curry versus Joel Embiid, stuff like that. So I kind of like the opportunity that we're given here with Zion versus Kyrie. So I'm here quite a bit, and I definitely think it's very valuable to play 2 Pelicans, maybe even 3. Lonzo, I'm looking for 40-plus fantasy points. Is it possible? Yeah. Is it consistent range of outcome? No. Maybe Ingram's a little bit more safer to kind of get to that 40-point threshold, but still in the range of outcomes. Off the bench here, I got Najee Marshall at 27 minutes. At 4,300 on FanDuel, maybe you can get him to 20 plus 25 FanDuel points. I'm not pushing the issue there. Just somebody to rotate through in mass entry as a potential value. Same with Bruce Brown. Good game. Next game, Hornets at the New York Knicks. Should be a slow-paced game, and the Knicks should have the benefit of great matchups throughout the lineup. Projects 35 for the Hornets. Maybe Devontae Graham. Right now, he's our lone questionable player on the slate. Terry Rozier, Jalen McDaniels, Miles Bridges, and P.J. Washington taking on Elfrid Payton, Reggie Bullock, R.J. Barrett, Julius Randle, and Nerlens Noel. 9-4 on Julius Randle on FanDuel, 10-1 on DraftKings. Julius Randle is on a tear, and the Knicks, don't look now, are one of the better stories in New York sports. And Randall is on a stretch of 30-plus real point games, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in a row, 50-plus fantasy points in 4 games straight. It's the Charlotte Hornets. He only dropped 25 on them last time, but we got to put that more as an anomaly, just 9 field goal attempts. I don't expect just 9 field goal attempts. I mean, 28, 29, 26. I mean, this guy's off the chain. So 10.1, we're looking for 50-plus fantasy points. If I looked at my initial projections in my first run, I had Julius Randle right behind Zion. So pivot area for sure if we think Zion gets a little bit more ownership. And the matchup's just fine. Obviously, the scoring is going to be a little bit lower. The pace is going to be a lot lower. So it's a little bit riskier, but the ranges of outcomes for Julius Randle to drop 50 or 50-plus are probably the same as Zion, and maybe the ceiling is arguably the same as well. But I have the floor just a little bit higher on Zion right now just because of the matchup, right? I trust Kyrie to score more than the Hornets, or the Kyrie-led offense to score more than the Hornets. If Devontae Graham is out, Rozier's usage definitely gets that uptick, but this Hornets team is facing one of the better defenses in basketball, the New York Knicks, so they would be really, really top-heavy at Rozier, and then everything else is a little bit rough. P.J. Washington, Miles Bridges, you can get some really deep minute projections on Miles Bridges. It's hard to get to 7,500 on him. Kind of feel like Bogdanovich, where I like the minutes, I like the opportunity, but I don't love the price. And then if Devontae did miss, you might get an uptick on one of the Martins or even Wanamaker. I'm not pushing the issue with any of those guys. Definitely could see the Hornets being one of my lower owned exposure areas on the slate, and give me some Julius Randle. And past him, I'm not going wild here. I could see some tier 3 shots on R.J. Barrett. Where he falls. The Hornets definitely struggle rebounding wise. So maybe Nerlens Noel had a cheap double-double, but it's just Julius Randle as the clear and cut top option from this game for me, and especially from the Knicks for me, right? Looking at the live chat, Quan says maybe Reggie Bullock. Maybe. I got 35 minutes on Reggie Bullock. No Alec Burks, so a little bit beneficial for a guy like Bullock, a shooter. He's cheap on FanDuel, 3,800. So I don't hate this call, especially because I do feel like I'm going to be paying up at the power forward spot today. So I need to find some value elsewhere, and it's probably going to be at that shooting guard spot. Reggie Bullock, 37, 41, 35 minutes last couple games. The output's not fantastic, but it's not horrendous from a FanDuel mindset, right? 3,800. So if I can get the north side of 20 fantasy points on a smaller slate, sure. Most of his shots are probably going to be from behind the arc. So, yeah, I can get behind that. The Hornets definitely suffer at giving up points via the 3-ball. So, yeah, give me some Bullock on FanDuel for sure. I'm with that. That's a good call. No D Rose. He just went off. You want some Derrick Rose? 5'8", 5'1". Fine. Like, I need that 30 from him. Said he just went off. Obviously, he should still benefit from no Alec Burks as well. 38 against New Orleans is, I'm not going to say expected, but New Orleans is one of the worst defenses in the league, right? So definitely performed for the matchup. So I don't hate the thought of D Rose here, but I think the more median range of outcome on this pace is probably 25 to 30, and that's kind of what I need at 5-1. So if he's in the pool, he's in the pool. But I can't overreact to what he did against the Pelicans because the Pelicans are the Pelicans. But definitely don't mind. Like, I'll have exposure to him, or at least I'll have him in the pool. Probably as a tier 3. Exposure's going to be up to the opto, right? 5,800 RJ, yeah. All right, next game on the docket, Clippers at the Blazers. Project 35 for the Clippers, Reggie Jackson, Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, Marcus Morris, and Ivica Zubac. Taking on C.J. McCollum, Norman Powell, Rondé Hollis Jefferson, Robert Covington, and they hate us because they ain't us. Cantor. Clippers on a slate with no news. The Clippers just chilling. You kind of feel like, oh, man, is there going to be news from the Clippers coming out. Let me see. Do the Clippers play tomorrow? Like, this would be the spot. Like, if they were on night one of a back-to-back or something like that, I would be very, very worried about some lurking news here. Let me pull this to the main slate so you guys can see what I'm doing. So tomorrow looks like a lot of teams play, and the Clippers do play night against, they host the Grizzlies. I'm not saying, I'm just saying, okay? Like, it's not outside of the realm of possibilities for one of Kawhi or Paul George to sit this one out per their trend so far, and then the other guy play tomorrow. So like I said, so far, the only thing we're watching is the Devontae Graham information. But especially going against a Blazers team that's going to be down Nurkic and Damian Lillard, I'm not saying, I'm just saying. You know what I'm saying? You get what I'm saying. So look out for that. Blazer side, without Damian Lillard, without Yusuf Nurkic, first of all, we're looking at Enes Kanter in an opportunity similar to this last time. I think he had like 30 rebounds. Obviously, the Clippers a little bit better, at least defensive rebounding. Their offensive rebounding is not great. So Kanter without Nurkic, just an elite opportunity to fill 30 minutes and be a point per minute type of producer. So at 6'1", I'm looking for 30 plus fantasy points, and very rarely is he going to get 26 plus minutes and not give you a shot at 30. He dropped 70 against Detroit in 37 minutes. I'm looking more for like 28 minutes. This might be a good stat muse query to run. So Enes Kanter DKP by game log without Yusuf Nurkic. Let's go last 10 games. Make sure I gotta be careful not to hit the mute button. 70, 37, 44, 55. So if you just isolate it to the last 4 games, he's definitely got you there at this price point, and then you quantify or you exponentially increase that, considering that that there's no Damian Lillard, and it's a short slate. So you could almost live with like 28 at this price point. So yeah, Kanter's going to be arguably at tier 1 for me on both sides. If I'm taking a peek at FanDuel, the center spot is Cat and everyone else. And I'm definitely going to want some Cat against the Kings. But outside of him, there's no priority plays here, right? Capella, lopsided game. John Collins is back. Holmes is out. Wendell Carter Jr. It's just could get 30, sure. Steven Adams never a priority play. So Kanter's there, Whiteside's there. So yeah, I could see myself going to the 5K area. Could Kanter be a tier 1? He definitely could be on both sides. And obviously, I'm gonna have my exposure to Cat, but Kanter's right there for me. And on DraftKings as well, he's got 2 games against the Clippers, 30 minutes per game, 30 fantasy points right there on the nose, right? So, yeah, give me some Kanter. And then CJ McCollum, 8,100 on FanDuel, a shooting guard spot, just kind of creates itself here when he's there with that opportunity. No Harden. Paul George, we talked about, I definitely think there's a range of outcomes where one of Paul George or Kawhi sits tonight. We'll see how that goes. But past that, CJ's on an island at AK. And I think the usage is going to be just fine for him without Damian Lillard. So we'll run two queries on this. We'll go to the Clippers. There's not a whole lot of sample size of McCollum with no Dame this season. But we have seen it lately, a game or 2 back. So I'm going to put McCollum on. And then I'm going to take Lillard and Nurkic off. Mellow day or no. 255 minutes of sample size this season of McCollum on, Lillard and Nurkic off. And McCollum has a 33% usage. I mean, that's elite levels, about a fantasy point per minute, and a 27% assist rate. So if you guys are betting assist props, maybe look at something for McCollum. And if we elongate on that to last season, that 33% becomes a 34.5%. In 760 minutes of sample size, still a point per minute, still a 30% assist rate. So that would lead me into looking at what PrizePicks has listed for CJ McCollum, and would also be a great segue, as we call in the biz, for our PrizePicks plug. You guys know we are brought to you by PrizePicks, one of our better sponsors that we've ever had. So go check them out. Sign up using code GUNDACKER. Get instant double your first deposit up to $100. So we looked at McCollum's assist rate. he is listed at 5.5 assists with on the board right now. And without Damian Lillard, he has sustained a 30+% assist rate the last couple years, and that's a pretty high assist rate. So just to put that in context, CJ McCollum, DKP by game log without Damian Lillard. Let's go last 10 games. And this will be a double purpose query. It'll show us how he's performed on DraftKings just from a fantasy point standpoint. 40 plus as far as the eye can see. And at AK, I'll take that. I think he's a little bit more expensive on DK. 8-9, but 8-1 on FanDuel, I'll take that. And while we're here, let's go look at his assist numbers. 6, 6, 7, 7, 5, 5, 8, 8. So there's 2 games under 5.5 assists in his last 10 without Damian Lillard, and he's at 5.5. So I'd probably take the over on CJ McCollum. Remember, if you guys want to add to your daily DFS grind, I definitely recommend, I truly recommend PrizePicks. It's not one of those, they sponsor me, so I'm shilling them things. It's fun. Their site's very, very fun. If you guys do sign up using code GUNDACKER, they're going to double your initial deposit up to $100. And I'm going to give you a free week of VIP if you sign up using code GUNDACKER. Just DM me on Twitter, twitter.com/GUNDACKER. Be like, yo, Gun, I signed up. Here's my name. And the next morning when they send me the list of people that sign up using my code, I'll be like, all right, boom, there he is. And then I give you a week of VIP. And that'll get you access to the NBA, the baseball spreadsheets, and the 24/7 RunDFS.com VIP Discord. So there's one of my favorite picks right off the dome. CJ over 5.5 assists. So CJ profiles pretty well as a DFS play, high usage guy. Canner's there for me as well. You mentioned Carmelo in the chat. I got him at 25 minutes. He's pretty cheap on both sides. Yeah, he might chuck some shots. Definitely, there's volatility in it, but I understand what you're saying. RA stays into the lineup now, and then Norman Powell is also a guy I can get to, a 6'2", 6'4". Gotta get the north side 30 fantasy points, so I don't mind that either. On the Clippers side, like I said, Paul George, Kawhi, they're in play as is. If you believe strongly that they're playing, there's nothing to really suggest that they're not. It just seems a little too good to be true that we have one guy to watch on this slate, and the Clippers are on night one of a back-to-back. So that's just me kind of being prepared for that. Reggie Jackson, we still got Patrick Beverly out. If one of Paul George or Kawhi were to get rolled out, I definitely would kind of tweak some exposure to get me a little bit of Reggie Jackson to try and get some of that 30 plus, maybe 40 fantasy point game. 223 total. Clippers a strong favorite here. I would also probably be sitting next to a Blazers plus 7.5 window tab on my computer if I thought that we might get some funky Kawhi Paul George news. So what do you guys got in the live chat before we move on? Paul, okay. Yeah, Paul, I could see that. I don't want to bring that up on air because I don't want YouTube to kill me or something, but that's not crazy. I could see something like that. What up, Anchor? What time does this game start? This game is at 10 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. Central. We got one game left on the docket. Pause for the cause. Let you guys know that after the stream, I'll be in the RunDFS.com VIP Discord for the bulk of the rest of the day until 7:30. I have 2 baseball locks to deal with, 2 spreadsheets to keep up, 2 player pools to keep up, and then, of course, the pre-lock voice chat. If you guys are ready to grind with us, look out for come join us. Go to RunDFS.com. Get yourself a VIP pass. Try the week pass, $25. That's we do 6 days a week coverage. I usually take Sundays off, although I still try and give you the Sunday baseball coverage just because I'm playing it. But 6 days a week, $25. That'll get you daily pre-lock voice chats and both NBA and baseball spreadsheets. But if you guys want to hang out in the voice chat today, good little basketball slate that's not going to be overly stressful to kind of figure out, hopefully. And then maybe a cool day to try out some baseball. T-Wolves at the Kings, main event tonight. Project starting 5 for the T-Wolves: Ricky Rubio, Anthony, and crossing over with Anthony Edwards, Josh Okogie, Jaden McDaniels, and Karl Anthony Towns. The Big Cat Ernie Ladd taking on De'Aaron Fox. Buddy Hield, Mo. How could you be so heartless? Harrison Barnes, Hassan Whiteside, a 238 total, a 3-point spread. Definitely one of my favorite games to target. This in the Pelicans game. More so this because I do feel like I have a higher predictive value in minutes and a better understanding of who should do well. De'Aaron Fox at 9,998 on DraftKings. Definitely one of the few players I have projected over 50 fantasy points pre-flop, and I just love the minutes that he plays. Backing him up, Buddy Hield, Tyrese Halliburton both have spin the wheel, make it deal potential to hit 30-plus fantasy points. And then Harrison Barnes, again, he's going to eat a lot of minutes. It's a very wide range of outcomes, whether or not those minutes turn into substantial fantasy points or not. But because of the minutes played, and today particularly because of the matchup, I'll have to have probably tier 2 exposure against my better judgment on Barnes. And then Hassan Whiteside, very intriguing play today. Just 24 minutes projected here. They still have Damian Jones, but Whiteside, when off the chain, can be a 1.5, 2 fantasy point per minute guy. And the main reason he can be that is because of his block potential. So on DraftKings, you look at his last 2 appearances, 0 and 1 block. Still getting the double doubles in 19, 24 minutes. Just incredible efficiency in terms of fantasy point production. And then you add in the block potential. This game actually does bring you block potential. Blocks per game allowed, the league leading number is 5.9. The Minnesota Timberwolves are at 5.8, so a tenth of a point. To touch on Paul's comment in chat, Minnesota would probably be a team that you'd have to watch for that. So if something that was unsatisfactory did come out in terms of that, definitely could see some T-Wolves, Minnesota team kind of making a protest statement. So look out for that. I hate to, I hate to make sports more than sports, but definitely have seen a precedent for stuff like that and completely understand it. So basketball-wise, though, yeah, Whiteside's in a good spot to build on the matchup. It's already one of the better matchups in basketball, and add to his block propensity, and those blocks will add up a little bit quicker on FanDuel as they're worth 3 points a swat, 5.4 on FanDuel. So $100 cheaper than Enes Kanter. I think the safe call is to go Kanter there, but there's definitely a range of outcomes where Whiteside outscores Kanter. If they score the same, it doesn't matter. You want Whiteside to outscore Kanter in that one. T-Wolf side, Cat's definitely somebody I'd be targeting for 50-plus fantasy points. On the projection chart, I have 4 players as of now projected for 50-plus fantasy points on DraftKings. Zion, Kyrie, De'Aaron Fox, and Cat at the top. Excuse me, my voice is leaving me right now. I just did a baseball stream. But yeah, give me some Cat. Rubio, I don't mind a dab of. Anthony Edwards, I'll take a little shot of. And then is Russell? Let's see. Let me type Russell. I don't think I put Russell in this press yet. 22 minutes against the Clippers here. Let me add D'Angelo to the bench here. I got D'Angelo for 26 minutes. So about 30 fantasy points a minute in a good matchup. So if I had to game stack this game, I'd tier my ownership on Cat 1. Edwards and Russell probably are out there in the 2 spot. And then Jaden McDaniels is worth a flyer, and Ricky Rubio as well. And then on the Kings side, I love everyone projected at 34 minutes. So Hield, Fox, Barnes, Whiteside I'm going to have. And then Halliburton, I would have to have some of that as well, right? Anything else in the live chat? Cole Anthony should be chalky. Yeah, I could see it. I could see the Cole Anthony and Wendell Carter portions of the Magic rising in ownership. Fox has to be like, I love Fox. So because I have 4 guys projected at 50, like I love all those guys, and for me it's Fox, it's Kyrie, and Cat obviously, right? Fox, Kyrie, and do I love Fox and Kyrie for 50 more than Zion consistently? Probably, because they have less to contest with. But if I put those 3 in the lineup, I get 4K per. Am I out of there on value? Probably not, but there's nothing extremely prevalent just yet. So I might have to live with 2 of 3 instead of 3 of 4. Unless some news comes out and we're able to change. But there's still a good, healthy area in the 5K as well. We talked about the Canners, Blake Griffins, Wendell Carter Jr.'s, Cole Anthony, guys like that. So there's still some 5K guys to land on. So I think it's going to be a fun slate. Definitely plenty of upside in the guard spot today, even on FanDuel. FanDuel is usually a little bit easier to tie in multiple studs. So if I go Fox, Kyrie, I'm almost tempted to go McCollum as well at 8-1, and then might walk back on a 11K cat and just take like a 5K canner, and it still gives me 5-4 to play with. And we talked about like Reggie Bullock was really cheap, right? So throw him in the line, 5-8. We're back up in 2 positive areas. If I look at the value chart, man, my voice is trying to leave. On DraftKings for value, and this is from projections from like 40 minutes ago, I got Anthony Simons up there, and without Damian Lillard, definitely makes a lot of sense. He'll probably be one of the more trendy value plays on both sides. 30 minutes last 2 games, 16-29. Because of the matchup, I'd be willing to put this more at 20 plus. So yeah, I can land on some Simons, but that for me, that's probably more of a DraftKings play because I do want to go double high end point guard today. So if I did that in the DraftKings lab that we're working on, add him in the mix, that gives me 5-3. Who else we got here? Landry Shamet. That's hard to love. DeAndre Jordan's kind of cheap. Cole Anthony's up there for good value. Whiteside. So definitely ways to get there, and maybe some more ways open up as we get closer to lock. If you guys are on Twitter, twitter.com/Gundacker, my DMs are open. Hit me with that follow if you haven't yet. It is going to be a pretty long DFS day, a little bit of a triathlon of sorts with DraftKings MLB main slate locking before FanDuel's like 30-40 minutes before, then the FanDuel MLB main slate lock, then the NBA main slate lock. So yeah, and then Paul, you're absolutely right. We'll watch for that verdict, and that could definitely change the slate a lot. So look out for that. Hopefully everyone stays safe. I may be back tonight on the YouTube channel. For those of you guys that just want to hang out, relax a little bit, I might play some MLB The Show. I got the group together. The game went live to the public today. So if you guys wanted to be part of that, if you play MLB The Show, what we'll probably do is have a Discord call open in the gaming Discord and just hang out, do moments, stuff like that. And then, it's a cool opportunity to talk with you guys a little bit more. I did one on early release night, and I enjoyed it. Like, I loved it. Usually when I'm on the air and you guys are in chat, I got a deadline to meet. I got games to break down, but it was really nice to just be chilling and chatting with you guys. So if you guys want to interact with that a little bit more, I might do a stream like that tonight on the YouTube channel. I don't want to saturate the channel with video game streams. So I might do 1 or 2 a week on the YouTube and do the rest on Twitch. But definitely looking forward to hanging out with the boys tonight. And the girl, she's over there grinding now. And then, chatting with you guys. So maybe look out for that. But yeah, if you guys got anything else for me, twitter.com/Gundacker. Otherwise, I'll be in the RunDFS.com VIP Discord, man. It is going to be a fun one. I appreciate you guys spending a little bit of your day for a little bit of my day. And I hope you guys win all of the money tonight. Send me them screenshots on Twitter. I'll see you guys in the RunDFS.com VIP Discord. I love you guys. Good luck. God bless. And go win some money.